In a significant public safety alert, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission (CPSC) has issued a warning urging consumers to immediately halt the use of specific Chinese-made faucets sold on Amazon.com due to hazardous lead exposure risks. This alert, published on May 15, 2025, highlights the potential dangers posed to infants, young children, and pregnant women who are particularly vulnerable to the neurological effects of lead ingestion. The CPSC's warning emphasizes the urgency of the situation, as the faucets in question can leach lead into drinking water, posing serious health risks. The faucets being recalled include the Vesla Home Kitchen Faucet, the KZH Bathroom Faucet, the Sinol Bathroom Faucet, and the Rainsworth Bathroom Faucet, all manufactured in China. These products, which lack proper safety certifications and branding, were sold for prices ranging from $30 to $70. CPSC Acting Chairman Peter Feldman stated, "CPSC is taking extraordinary steps to protect Americans from toxic faucets that threaten our children, underscoring the agency's commitment to consumer safety amid ongoing concerns over hazardous goods from China." The CPSC's enforcement sweep stems from recent tests revealing unacceptable levels of lead leaching from these faucets. Following the findings, the agency moved swiftly to expedite public warnings and recommend immediate disposal of the affected products. Consumers are advised to run the water for at least 15 seconds before consuming if they must use these faucets until replacements are procured. Additionally, the CPSC encourages consumers to seek faucets that comply with NSF/ANSI Standard 61, which sets safety criteria for lead levels in plumbing products. This alarming recall comes at a time when U.S.-China trade relations remain tense, with recent discussions around tariffs on imports from China. In light of the faucet recall, consumers are reminded to remain vigilant about the safety of products they purchase, especially from foreign manufacturers. The CPSC has pledged to announce further enforcement actions against additional companies, highlighting an ongoing commitment to safeguarding public health. In a broader context, the decline in Chinese imports to the U.S. has been notable, with recent data indicating a significant drop attributed to punitive tariffs. As the trade landscape continues to evolve, it remains essential for consumers to be aware of the potential risks associated with imported products, particularly in light of the heightened scrutiny on goods from China. As this situation develops, consumers are encouraged to stay informed about product recalls and safety alerts. The CPSC's proactive approach is a reminder of the importance of consumer safety in a global marketplace where vigilance is necessary to avoid potential hazards. Looking ahead, it is clear that ongoing scrutiny of imported goods will play a critical role in ensuring the safety of American households. In an era marked by heightened geopolitical tensions and scrutiny of corporate governance, two significant stories are emerging that exemplify the complex interplay between technology, national security, and international relations. The state of Mississippi is continuing its legal battle against China over the COVID-19 pandemic, while Meta, formerly known as Facebook, finds itself embroiled in accusations of endangering U.S. national security through its operations in the Chinese market. Mississippi's lawsuit against China claims that the Chinese government's actions during the early days of the COVID-19 outbreak caused significant economic and public health damages within the state. The lawsuit, which has been ongoing, seeks to hold China accountable for its alleged role in the global pandemic. While the legal proceedings are still unfolding, experts speculate that the state could potentially seek damages in the billions if successful. The lawsuit taps into broader sentiments in the U.S. regarding accountability for the pandemic, with Mississippi positioning itself at the forefront of this contentious legal landscape. As Mississippi's case progresses, the implications of corporate actions on national security are brought into sharp relief through the scrutiny of Meta. Recent revelations have surfaced regarding the company's operations in China, particularly its Project Aldrin, which aimed to gain access to the lucrative Chinese market. Testimonies from former executives indicate that Meta developed customized censorship tools to meet the demands of the Chinese Communist Party's CCP, thereby compromising U.S. national security interests. According to Sarah Wynne Williams, a former Facebook executive, the company went to great lengths including providing technical expertise that could bolster China's military capabilities. Wynne Williams' insights reveal a troubling pattern of behavior from Meta's leadership, especially from CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who has been accused of prioritizing corporate profit over national loyalty. Despite publicly advocating for free speech and democratic values, the company's actions in China suggest a different narrative, one where compliance with authoritarian censorship became a business strategy. This contradiction raises questions about the ethical responsibilities of tech giants operating in foreign markets, particularly those with authoritarian regimes. The repercussions of Meta's actions are profound. Not only has the company facilitated the expansion of China's surveillance state, but it has also potentially exposed American citizens to espionage by enabling the Chinese government to access user data. Meta has inadvertently assisted in the development of technologies that could be used against U.S. interests. The implications extend beyond corporate negligence. They touch on fundamental issues of national security and the challenges posed by globalization in the tech industry. As Mississippi's lawsuit against China unfolds and scrutiny intensifies on Meta's operations, the intersection of technology and national security will remain a focal point of public discourse. These developments urge a re-evaluation of how tech companies navigate their international engagements, particularly in countries with contrasting governance models. The future may demand stricter regulatory measures and greater accountability from corporations, as both state and public interests are increasingly at stake in the digital age. In conclusion, as Mississippi seeks justice for the impact of the pandemic and as the revelations about Meta's operations provoke calls for accountability, the landscape of technology, national security, and international relations continues to evolve. The outcomes of these unfolding narratives will likely shape the contours of corporate governance and geopolitical strategy for years to come, underscoring the need for vigilance in an increasingly interconnected world. The global economic landscape is witnessing a significant upheaval as various nations grapple with the repercussions of trade policies and economic data integrity. Recent reports indicate that China is experiencing an economic downturn that some analysts are describing as an economic collapse. This situation is compounded by skepticism surrounding the authenticity of China's official economic data, which many experts believe is inflated or misleading. On May 15, 2025, reports surfaced detailing the unfolding crisis in China's economy, with discussions highlighting the potential manipulation of economic statistics. A piece published by MSN emphasized that a significant proportion of China's official economic data may be fabricated, leading to a lack of trust in the country's economic health. As the Chinese economy struggles, these revelations could further exacerbate the situation, leading to heightened scrutiny from international investors and policymakers alike. Simultaneously, the United States is navigating its own set of economic challenges, particularly in the realm of international trade. President Trump, during a business event in Qatar, claimed that India had offered to eliminate tariffs on U.S. goods. He urged Apple CEO Tim Cook to focus on manufacturing in the United States rather than expanding operations in India. Trump's administration has been under pressure due to rising costs from tariffs, with retail giant Walmart warning that these increases could soon translate into higher prices for consumers. CEO Doug McMillon stated, "We will do our best to keep our prices as low as possible, but given the magnitude of the tariffs, we aren't able to absorb all the pressure." The tension in U.S.-China trade relations has taken a new turn as both nations agreed to a 90-day pause on most tariffs. This truce briefly alleviated market anxieties, causing stock indices to surge. However, the underlying issues remain, with many economists warning that the long-term effects of tariffs could still weigh heavily on the economy. A recent report from the Yale Budget Lab projected a potential 0.7% reduction in U.S. GDP growth due to tariffs, while also indicating that the average effective tariff rate has reached 17.8%. Amidst these developments, companies are adapting to a rapidly changing economic environment. For instance, the automaker Nissan announced plans to cut its workforce by 15% and reduce production capacity due to the financial strain imposed by tariffs. Similarly, other sectors are grappling with increased costs and shifting consumer behavior as Americans adjust their spending habits in response to uncertainty. A survey indicated that 2/3 of small business owners reported negative impacts from Trump's tariff policies. As various countries reassess their trade relationships, the ramifications of these economic shifts are likely to resonate globally. In Europe, for example, the EU has prepared a list of U.S. products it may target with tariffs should trade negotiations fail. These developments underscore the interconnectedness of global trade and the delicate balance that nations must maintain to foster economic stability. Looking ahead, the situation remains fluid. Analysts are closely monitoring the potential outcomes of ongoing trade negotiations and the accuracy of economic data, particularly from China. As both the U.S. and China navigate the complexities of their trade relationship, the global economy may experience further volatility, making the coming months critical for policymakers and businesses alike. The outcomes of these negotiations and the broader economic implications will undoubtedly shape the future landscape of international trade and economic cooperation. In a significant shift within China's military communications framework, Senior Colonel Jiang Bin made his debut as the new spokesperson for the Ministry of National Defense on May 15, 2025. This appointment marks a notable generational change, as Jiang is the first spokesperson born in the 1980s to hold this position, succeeding the previous spokesperson Wu Qian. With a robust background in military affairs and international studies, Jiang aims to enhance transparency regarding China's military strategies and operations. During his inaugural press briefing, Jiang announced a substantial restructuring of China's military educational institutions, revealing plans to establish 3 new military academies. This initiative is part of a broader strategy to align military training with the evolving needs of the People's Liberation Army (PLA) and to cultivate specialized military talent as outlined by the Central Military Commission. The establishment of these academies is crucial for optimizing our educational resources and enhancing the combat effectiveness of our forces, Jiang stated. The 3 new institutions will include a PLA University for Army branches, an engineering university focused on information support forces, and a joint logistics support force engineering university. The first will be based in Hefei, Anhui Province, integrating existing military academies for armored and artillery forces. The second, located in Wuhan, will combine resources from the National University of Defense Technology and Army Engineering University, while the third, situated in Chongqing, will merge the Army Logistics University with the Army Military Transportation University. Military affairs expert Song Zhongping emphasized the strategic importance of these new academies, noting that they represent an effort to streamline and enhance military education across various branches. With dedicated institutions focused on specialized training, we can ensure that our personnel are better prepared for modern military challenges, Song remarked. In addition to educational reforms, Jiang addressed the future of China's military relationships, particularly with Russia. Emphasizing the importance of strategic mutual trust, he expressed China's readiness to deepen military-to-military ties with Russia. Our military cooperation has been at a high level, characterized by joint exercises and high-level exchanges, Jiang noted, indicating a commitment to further enrich the China-Russia strategic partnership in the context of maintaining global stability. As China continues to reshape its military structure and enhance its educational framework, the implications of these developments are profound. The establishment of new military academies signifies a commitment to modernizing the PLA and adapting to contemporary security challenges. Furthermore, Jiang's proactive approach in addressing military relations with Russia reflects a broader strategy to solidify alliances amid a complex geopolitical landscape. Looking ahead, the upcoming academic year will be pivotal for these new institutions as they begin the enrollment process shaping the future of military education in China. Moreover, the ongoing evolution of military diplomacy, especially with partners like Russia, will likely play a crucial role in China's defense strategy as the global political environment continues to shift. In a significant display of geopolitical ambition, China is deepening its engagement with Latin America, as evidenced by the recent China-CELAC forum held in Beijing on May 13, 2025. The meeting marks a pivotal moment for both China and the Latin American and Caribbean LAC region, reflecting a strategic alignment as the United States adopts a more protectionist stance under President Donald Trump. This shift in dynamics not only highlights China's growing influence but also presents both opportunities and challenges for LAC nations, which must navigate their own paths amid intensifying U.S.-China competition. Chinese President Xi Jinping's commitment to enhancing economic ties with Latin America was underscored by a substantial announcement of a 9 billion yuan credit line and increased infrastructure investments aimed at fostering development. There are no winners in tariff wars or trade wars. Bullying or hegemonism only leads to self-isolation, Xi stated, framing China's approach as one of cooperation and mutual benefit. This assertion positions the yuan as a viable alternative to the US dollar, aligning with China's long-term goals of currency internationalization. The forum saw leaders from key Latin American countries including Brazil's Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Colombia's Gustavo Petro, and Chile's Gabriel Boric come together to discuss regional coordination and investment opportunities. The collaborations announced particularly Brazil's planned $5 billion investment in sustainable energy and electric mobility signify a shift toward high-tech partnerships that go beyond traditional commodity exchanges. This underscores a growing sophistication in Sino-Latin American relations as investments in renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and green infrastructure emerge as focal points. Lula, during his visit to Beijing, emphasized the need for fair trade principles, arguing that trade wars have no winners and advocating for a collaborative approach to addressing global challenges, including the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. These sentiments resonate with the broader narrative that Latin America must leverage its relationships with global powers like China while maintaining autonomy in decision-making. China's approach stands in stark contrast to the U.S. strategy, which has become increasingly characterized by neglect and unilateralism. As the U.S. turns inward, focusing on tariffs and migration issues, Beijing has strategically filled the void left in LAC through patient diplomacy and attractive financing options. This shift allows China to present itself as a reliable partner that respects sovereignty and promotes regional integration. However, this deepening relationship is not without its complexities. Latin American nations face significant challenges related to over-reliance on Chinese investments, raising questions about autonomy and sustainable development. As Lula noted, strengthening the community of Latin American and Caribbean states, CELAC, could provide a platform for regional coherence and a unified voice in global forums. This calls for a recalibration of how LAC countries engage with both China and the US, ensuring that they do not merely swap one dependency for another. The Beijing summit has highlighted several crucial lessons. Firstly, the emerging multipolarity in international relations necessitates that Latin America positions itself wisely within this evolving landscape. Secondly, active engagement from global powers like China can create valuable opportunities for the region. Lastly, true international leadership must be actively cultivated rather than passively assumed, requiring a commitment to vision, consistency, and responsibility. As global dynamics continue to shift, the future of Latin America's role on the world stage will depend on its ability to translate these opportunities into tangible influence. The potential for a more autonomous leadership trajectory exists, provided that regional nations can effectively coordinate, implement long-term strategies, and engage with multiple global powers without compromising their sovereignty. The unfolding developments in Sino-Latin American relations will be closely watched, as they may reshape not only the economic landscape of the region but also its geopolitical standing in the years ahead.